islands. And also, I've got quite a few announcements. But before I start with the announcements, let's start by actually thanking our sponsor. Our sponsor is the Fishwives Club, and the Fishwives Club have a 45% off lockdown special on a case of Merlot and a case of Sauvignon Blanc. And they've informed me that this special ends on the 31st of August. So you have, 10 days left to get this. They also said there's limited stock. So it's either on the 31st of August or before the stock runs out. So thank you to the Fishwives Club for being a consistent sponsor of our morning and evening live streams. And thank you for making this morning's live stream possible. Um, Well, today's Friday, and it's the start of the weekend, and we have this wonderful picture here of Franschhoek up on the screen. And I think to this weekend, our task for you guys as our consumers of wine and the people in our group trying to save the SA Winelands, we try to give you a task every now and then. And for this weekend, your task is to either visit the winery if you're in Cape Town or in the area, or you're flying down to the Cape for the weekend. Go visit the winery. Go to Franschhoek. Go visit as many places as you can, and support the local restaurants. It looks like it's going to be great weather this weekend. That's what the weather report says. And if you're not in the Cape and you're sitting at home or you're somewhere else, if you go to a restaurant, make sure you drink a South African wine, of course, And if you're braaiing at home, send us pictures of what South African wines you are drinking. And so that's the other thing we need from people. This is a time to celebrate. The South African wine industry are having a sigh of relief, but it's not a time for complacency. There's still lots to be done to actually save our wine industry. So we need everyone to take part in the group, to invite people. We're closing in on 55,000 members. I need each and every one of you to invite 2 or 3 friends that's not on the group yet. Please get them on. We want to get this group to 100,000, and we've got lots of exciting things happening that will make it worthwhile for people to be in the group, and also, of course, for our cause, and that is to save South African wine. So talking about exciting things happening, we are going to concentrate for the next few days on MCC and on Cape Classic. Our bubblies made in South Africa is of a very high standard. I heard someone say this morning they went to France, they tasted the champagne, they loved it, and then they moved to Cape Town. They tasted the local MCC, and they are still here. So they haven't left. So amazing. We've got amazing bubblies, and MCC Day is on the 1st of September. And we need everybody to start sharing the hashtag Cape Classic Day. We're going to celebrate all our Cape Classics, and we will have some exciting things happening. I'm going to do podcasts with some of your producers of Cape Classic. We are going to start a new segment in our show called Let's Talk MCC, and we'll have that on, and lots of things happening. So for you as consumers, also keep your eye out. There's going to be lots of specials that's going to be produced by our wine producers and by our Cape Classic producers. So we are creating a special page. We'll give you the links later on, where you will be able to find these specials and also all the producers of our Cape Classic. But in the meantime, if you're a consumer and you're drinking Cape Classic, please post your pictures. If you're a winery and you're a producer of Cape Classic, please start posting your links and your products in the group. We want to see them. This is a place for you to promote, so don't be shy. Come tell us what you're going to offer us. Come tell us what you're doing for Cape Classic Day, the 1st of September. This is also the first day of spring. So if you're going to buy your loved one a bunch of flowers, why not include a bottle of Cap Classique this year? Make it special. It's been hard times during Corona, and it's time that you step up to the plate and treat that special loved one of yours on the 1st of September on a bunch of, with the flowers and with Cap Classique. That would be fantastic. So keep an eye out for what's happening. Then today, before I say that, I just want to again say a huge thank you to every single one in this group. Without you, the group doesn't work. Without our members, so it's very, very important that you keep on inviting people. But I just want to say thank you, and we appreciate every single one of you. Um, if you want to find the latest wines and Wineland specials, go to bit.ly bit.ly/find SA wine. Let me repeat that, bit.ly/find SA wine, and you will find listings of all Winelands businesses, listings in South Africa, the UK, Canada, the USA, all around the world. If you're a winery, make sure you're listed there. It's totally free. It's a service to our wineries, and you can list yourself there. Then today, our featured podcast, I'm chatting to Lourens Relihan of Cellars, and I'm going to tell you guys a little bit more about that. But I just want to say in general about podcasts, if you're a winery and you want to be on a podcast, email us to visit the winelands, excuse me, at gmail.com. It's visitthewinelands@gmail.com, and you can sign up for an interview. Also, if you're interested in getting your special promotion out there, if you're a restaurant or a Winelands business, a spa, anyone in the Winelands that want to looking to get their story out to our more than 50,000 members. And also, this is also the podcast actually goes out to all our pages on Facebook. It goes out to YouTube. It goes out to Instagram TV. It goes out to Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, and Spotify. So it's a great place to actually advertise your Winelands special or your Winelands experience, whatever your Winelands business offer. And we've got very competitive rates now for the lockdown. So just go visit. You can email us, visit thewinelands@gmail.com, or you can find the details on our page. There's links in the description below. And talking about specials, I just need to say again, a big thank you to our friends, the Fishwives Club. They have fantastic wines. Don't you just love their labels? I just love the design of these labels. The lockdown special ends on the 31st of August, or whenever their stock runs out. So if you want to get it, jump on the link fishwivesclub.gr8.com. Let me repeat that, fishwivesclub.gr8.com, and get the special. And now, just a reminder, tonight's Friday night, so we've got an exciting show lined up for 7 o'clock. More things happening. I'll talk about that during the day. We'll have some teasers on what's happening tonight. But at 7 o'clock, be at the same place. We're going live. We'll have some more exciting things happening. But now let's get on with the podcast with Lourens Relihan from Cellars. Very interesting interview to listen to and to find out what Cellars offers. So I'll talk to everyone tonight. Welcome to About the Winelands. In this show, we will be chatting to leaders, influencers, wine producers, restaurants, and other role players. Tune in every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday for your latest episodes. You will find us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram TV, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Google Podcast. Good day, everyone, and welcome to About the Winelands. Today I'm talking to Lourens Relihan. Lourens is the marketing manager at Darling Cellars. Hello, Lourens. How are you?
Hi, well, I'm good and you?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you coping with the current situation we're in? Everything well?
Yes, yeah, well, in the lockdown, I think it's difficult for anyone and everyone. I'm working from home, so I've been here since the lockdown. Um, we did open, so we can export since Monday, so we've got quite a few exports going out. And production's also started, so at least there's some light in the end of the tunnel. But I think it's a challenging period, and yeah, I think going ahead is going to be difficult as well. So, but be positive, and we'll get through it. So, yeah.
I'm sure we all will. So tell us,
Yes.
Lourens, how did you get involved in the wine industry and what is your background?
I grew up in Paarl, so basically I grew up in the winelands. And my father and mother, they used to drink some wine, and obviously I was introduced to wine. Um, well, growing up in Nepal, and I know a lot of farmers there in Nepal. Most of them, obviously, they delivered to KWV and Nederburg at that stage. It was quite some time back. But yes, so I grew up in the winelands, and I went studying in Stellenbosch and Cape Town, and I did some courses in management and retailing and marketing. After that, I went to Europe and I traveled, and most of the time I stayed in France for about 9 months, and obviously drank quite a lot of wine there.
Awesome. Where in
But
France did you stay?
I stayed mostly in Paris, and then we hitchhiked. I didn't work. We were just I was just after I studied, so I was just having
Awesome.
some fun, and yeah, I was very interested in going to France, and yeah, it learned me quite a lot of things, and obviously from wines as well. And we hitchhiked basically through France and stayed at places and stayed with people and on beaches and whatever, as you do in that stage. Those when you were young, like 20 years old. I think nowadays you can't do that anymore. But yeah. So anyway, so I came back, and that was just after the '94. So when the South Africa had the new democratic government. So I was looking for a job, and I found a job in the wine industry, which is basically I worked for a liquor store, and then after that I worked for wine farms. I started at Boland Kelder, Boland Cellars now these days in Paarl, and from there I went to Tolbach winery, and now I'm at Darling Cellars. So yeah, it's basically in
Awesome.
short how I got involved in the wine industry.
Do you actually live in Darling or do you drive through to the cellar?
No, I stayed in Rebecca still, so I've
Okay.
gone back to my. Yeah, my wife works in Franschhoek, so we need to have a midway somewhere. So it's either Wellington, Rebecca Steel, Hermon, or Malmesbury. And we quite like Rebecca Steel, so I also got married here a few years back ago.
Okay.
But I like the quiet. It's nice and quiet if you want it, and if it can get quite busy during weekends if you want it. So you can do, and it's close. You're close
Mm.
to airport, close to the city. Half an hour's drive to work, so it's not that busy. Only traffic is a few sheep and cows maybe in the road somewhere, but otherwise it's all no, it's all good.
So Darling Cellars, can you tell us, give us a bit of history? Our listeners would be interested to hear what the history of Darling Cellars would be.
Yes, Darling. Well, we situated about 80 kilometers from Cape Town, in between Darling, the town Darling, and Malmesbury. So it takes about 45 minutes to drive from the airport to there, so that's not that far. We established in 1994 as a Mammerweg co-op cellar, and then we changed to a company in 1996, and that's where the name Darling Cellars came from, Darling Cellars Pty Limited. Nowadays we have around 18 shareholders, about 900 hectares, 75% red, 25% white. We harvest wine of orange and Darling, about 5,500 tons, and then we do buy in from other areas that we use for contract packaging. So in total, we can do about 10,000 tons. The cellar can do about 10,000 tons.
Oh, that's quite big.
Yeah, we're medium sized. There's cellars that do double and triple and quadruple that. So we in the middle. We're the biggest in our area. In Wine of Origin, Darling, we're the biggest there. There's only four or five wineries in Wine of Origin, Darling, which makes us quite unique. There's not a lot of people that can say Wine of Origin, Darling. So, and yeah, the whole area is renowned for obviously for Sauvignon Blanc and for Shiraz. And then, the past few years, we moved into some nice Chenin Blancs, some nice Pinotages. So it's it's a nice, quite diverse, And most of about 90% of the wines is dryland and bush vines, which also made it a little bit different. So yeah.
So interesting. You said that you moved from a cooperative to a company setup. I assume that you
Yes.
still basically have almost like a cooperative type of structure. In other words, your shareholders will basically still be the original producers or the producers delivering at your cellar would be the major shareholders,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
And of the shareholders, you have that 80%, 20% kind of ratio. So
Yeah.
20% of the shareholders will deliver probably 80% of the grapes that we get in. But yeah, it's
Amazing how that always works, right? So I see
yeah.
you have I see you guys have a tasting room. So obviously open to visitors. So what can a guest experience when they come to your tasting room?
Our tasting room, we've upgraded our tasting room. We continuously upgrading our tasting room as we go along. So we've got all our wines basically for taste, from the top range down to the entry level range. We do serve light lunches. Not a big menu, but we're not a restaurant. But you can have cheese platters, and you can have choices of 2 or 3 sometimes. Christine, our girl who's handling the sales at the cellar door, she will, like on a Wednesday, she'll have special meals, fish and chips, or she will have, and she will advertise on Facebook and all social media, and you must book pre-ahead, and that was quite popular. So we'll have stews maybe in the winter, and we'll have soups and all those kind of things. And then sometimes we'll have wine pairings with that. We had a sushi and MCC wine pairing some time back. So all of that, and then obviously we have an outside tent where you can sit under the tent. It's raining, or it's cold, or it's sun. We can do cellar tours, but that's only an appointment. For tasting, you don't have to make an appointment. I think it's 20 Rand for 5 wines to taste. And if you buy something, then we waive the tasting fee. So come and join us.
From my perspective, Darling is an interesting place to visit, but it's a bit off the beaten track of your traditional wine route. So, do you actually are most of your visitors locals, or do you get international tourists as well? And are you part of a wine route in that area?
Well, you don't have a specific wine route. The wine route is Darling wine route. But yeah, at this stage, it's not 100% going. But we do work with each other. So we work with the other farms, and we do have international tasters or people that media and people that come. You can say we're off the beaten track, but I think we're getting more exposure the past few years. A lot of people, the West Coast is growing quite fast, and a lot of people are going there on holidays and on weekends. So they drive past us, and with a lot of things happening in the town of Darling, like the Darling Brew, and all those kind of things, people do come to the area. So it's just not, we get obviously a lot of locals, but we do have a lot of international trade coming through. And since we've started serving light meals, we had an influx of people. I think our people and our turnover in December doubled from the previous year. So we're definitely growing, and we're getting I think the area is growing, and a lot of people are looking for something different. I think a lot of people know Stellenbosch, they know Franschhoek and all the other wine areas. And being so close to the Swartland as well, a lot of people are coming through, and maybe on their way to somewhere else, but they'll drive past us and they'll stop and they'll come in. So yes, we do have not the masses obviously that you get into Franschhoek and Stellenbosch, but maybe it's a nice thing just to go if you want to chill a little bit more and get some wines from different areas, different tastes. It's also good.
Excellent. So, if I understand correctly, your cellar also provides bottling and labeling services, or a range of services to clients besides your producers that are delivering. Am I right if I say this? Can you expand on this a bit more?
Yes, yeah, we do. We do have well, winemaking. We offer lots of services. So we make wines for other wineries, or we also bottle. We've got our own bottling plant that we do 750 ml glass, and we do have bag and box lines that we do bag and box for contract packaging for export or local, doesn't matter. So we do provide that services. We also provide, basically we can be a one-stop shop. So we can make the wine, we can bottle, label everything, and we can ship it from our premises for export. So okay. Yes, we offer all that services, and yeah, we also IFS and BRC accredited, Vita, all our farmers are Vita accredited. So that helps for all the exports, and we also, as a seller, we are fair trade accredited. So we can do all those services as well.
So who would your largest clients be? Would it be people that maybe want to build a wine brand but don't have their own wine estate, or maybe supermarkets that want to do their own INEAS labels or something like that? Or who would the typical clients be?
Well, it's both. It's all of them above, and okay. So it depends on what are your depends on. So we do contract packaging for a company in Denmark, Amca, who is our biggest client basically. So we do packaging for them. Plus we do obviously sell our own labels to them as well. Awesome. We have retailers that we do brands for. One of them is Co-op in the UK that we do the Chenin Blanc. I've
actually seen that one before at the Co-op, so that's interesting.
I didn't even know that. Yeah. So yeah, so we do got, and we obviously do local as well. We supply to some other wineries and for their brands, and which they export and all those kind of things. So yeah, we're quite diverse. So we're open for basically anything.
Okay, that's interesting. So, I mean, further than this, you're saying, and this, you're making your own label as well, and you obviously have your own vineyards. So tell us a bit more about your own wines and also the winemaking philosophy at Darling.
Okay, so yeah, so we've got quite a few cultivars that we grow in Darling. We've got about 10 different white and about 16 different red cultivars that we can use. But the main ones basically your Chenin Blanc, Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc, the white side, and then on the red side, Cabernet, Shiraz, Pinotage. We've got some nice Cinsault, then Old Merlot, and then obviously Grenache and all that kind of different reds. So we work in tiers. We've got different tiers of our products. So we have a top tier, which is called the Old Bush Vines, which we have two wines in. We've got a Chenin Blanc and a Cinsault. So both of these wines are also part of the Old Vines project. So the vineyards needs to be 35 years or older. So that's a project we started about 3 years ago, because we had this vineyards that's 40 years and older, and obviously the yields on these were really low. And to try and protect them and to keep them in the ground, we need to make wines of that and obviously sell at a higher price so that we can pay the farmers a little bit more money. So otherwise it's not financially viable for them. So we've got those. That's basically our top range of the Old Bush Vines. Then we have a heritage range, which brings back the heritage of the whole area of Darling. So it's We've got Sir Charles Sir Charles Darling. He was actually the governor of Cape Town, and in the late 1600s, and the town of Darling was named after him. So we named a wine after him, Sir Charles Darling, which is a Cab Merlot blend, and then we have Lady Anne Darling, which was one of his wives. He had 3 wives, and that is a Sauvignon Blanc Semillon blend. And then we have a Lime Kilns. Lime Kilns is at the heritage sites on your way to Azerfontein. You'll find they used to make the lime that they paint the white houses on the west coast. So there's kilns that they burn the shells, the white shells, to make this white powder to paint. So that's the other label. And the last one is the Old Grain Silo, which the whole area started as grain farming in some back. So that's the 4 wines that we have in our heritage range. Then we've got a Gustus range, which is a premium range, which is all single cultivars. You'll get Cabernet, Merlot, Shiraz, Chenin Blanc, Sauvignon Blanc. We've also got a Bukettraube in that range, which is quite interesting. Bukettraube is a cultivar that's long lost, forgotten, actually. I think in South Africa, a long time ago, it was quite popular as a sweeter kind of style wine.
I remember we used to
about
get
70.
In the 80s, we used to get that on the Stellenbosch wine route. It used to be...
yes.
You're right.
Yes.
I actually didn't notice that, but it has been tapering off. I haven't seen it for a while.
Yeah, so there's only 70 hectares left in the world, I think, and South Africa's got about 55, and we've got 5.75. So it's quite a unique, very scarce cultivar, and so we make a dry Bukettraube, and we sell it under the Gustus brand, which is very popular, and won a gold at Mundus Vini in Germany last year as well. So yeah, that's something interesting, something different, and then we've got our reserve range, and the Chocoholic is a Pinotage that's part of the reserve range. I'm not sure if you know the Chocoholic. That's like a blue label that's on the market. So it's doing very well. It's one of our best sellers of our red wines in South Africa and international as well. But the reserve range consists of 4 reds and 3 whites and a rosé, a Pajama Bush, which is a Grenache Sauvignon Blanc Grenache blend. So those wines is mainly, you'll find them in basically all of your retail stores. The other wines, it's normally you'll find it online, or you'll find it at the cellar door only, because it's more premium and more reserved wine. And then we've got our entry-level wines, which is a classic, the Cab Merlot, the classic Cab Merlot, Chenin Sauvignon Blanc. Then we've got some sweet wines as well. And we've got 4 MCCs. So we've got an ultra premium MCC, which falls also on the Old Bushvine range, which is a 36 months on the lease Chardonnay. And then we've got a normal Blanc de Blanc, which sells very well. We've also got a rosé, which is made of Grenache, which we've got a listing in Sweden. And then we've got a sweet white, which is made of Chenin Blanc. So the MCC range is also doing very well. But yeah, that's basically the ranges that we sell. We do have other labels as well, but that's mostly for export or for certain specific customers. But those are the main, basically, tiers and labels that you'll find at our cellar door.
Well, this is quite interesting. It sounds to me like, you were talking about you're doing quite a bit of exports.
Just a quick interruption, but I do need to remind you that we are currently in a very difficult time. The South African government has set up a fund where businesses and individuals can donate to support our country through this crisis. Go to the website now and add your small donation. www.solidarityfund.co.za. Please join us all in the fight against COVID-19. That is at www.solidarityfund.co.za. Now, let's get on with the show.
What is your breakdown between export sales and the local market? Do you sell in supermarkets, that type of stuff as well, or your own labels now, or not?
Yes. Yeah, no, we're quite big in South Africa. think by the end of last year, Nielsen figures, we were in the top 20 of brands in South Africa. So we sell to all the major retailers, restaurants, independents. So all our distribution in South Africa is done by Vinimark, who is our agent, who's doing all the distribution. So yes, so we are quite well represented in South African markets. It is a very big market for us, and it's about 65% of our sales, of our packaged sale, bottled sales, which is important for us. And then obviously the difference, the 30% is for export, 30-40%. But that's only for our bottled wines. The bag-and-box wines, we don't do that in South Africa, but we do export that. But that's different kind of volume that we do there, quite big. We are available online through different platforms, and the major retailers, I think, with the current situation with lockdown, I think a lot of people are going to start buying online.
Mm-hmm.
We will also have our own dedicated online site.
That's what I wanted to ask you about, because I mean, obviously with the coronavirus, everyone is forced to rethink their business models, right? I noticed that, you know, with some of the previous producers I've been speaking to, they refocusing on their online sales, and also on things like wine clubs and stuff like that, to obviously stimulate sales while people might buy now, or if they're not offering a club, they might offer some discounts or something like that. So do you have any changes or new ideas in mind that came around from this whole corona thing?
Yes, I think we need to think differently. We need to do the marketing differently. We need to do the sales differently. So there's a lot of things that will change and needs to change. And yeah, some of them are the online sales. I think people will, depending on how the levels playing out for the next few months, people will do well. They won't have a choice but to buy online if they're not allowed to go to the normal brick and mortar kind of shops. So yes, we are fixing up and getting more online and specials running on there. And if you join, you get a 5% discount and all those kind of things. And so we are all doing that and planning to see what we can do after the lockdown is finished. So I think it's going to be a bit of a rush. I think a lot of people are going to rush buy wines and whatever else they need when the lockdown is finished. So by buying now, we're getting orders at the moment, so that people know that they will be first in line to get the deliveries to their home online. So that's one positive. But I think yes, it depends, and the future is we don't know what it holds in. We don't know how long this lockdown is still going to be, and what's going to have the effect for the next few months or years, for that matter.
Well, that's true, right? Uncertainty is a big thing in this market at the moment.
Yeah, and I think you need to adapt as you go along. You obviously you plan ahead, and we made our plans, and we had a lot of different kind of scenarios that we're playing out to see how we're gonna get through this and how we're gonna get healthy and survive on the other side. But things can change daily, so you need to adapt as quick as possible as you can as you see things change. So the opportunities are there. You need to take them, and you need to be active and quick. So one of them are online, yes, and the social media, all of that. But I think that they still do have a place for your normal retail. People will still go buy their retail. I think people will just maybe in the beginning, they'll buy case lots in bulk, maybe just to stock up again, because you never know when we're going back to level 5 again.
Well, this is true. Again. But I think also another thing that will happen is it's going to take a long time for international tourism worldwide to go back to its previous levels. So we might see a lot of local tourism. Are you planning to maybe expand on your local offering in terms of maybe extending your tasting room or offering more food or something like that, which seemed to work anyway? Is that something?
Yes, we definitely. Yeah, definitely. That's we've already drawn up the plans, everything. We actually wanted to start now in January, February with the alterations. And then luckily, luckily or unluckily, we just extended it for a longer period, and then the lockdown came.
Oh.
So yes, we're going to extend. We're going to build a formal venue, and so with which we can have different kind of offices or venues, and
Oh, that's
yes.
awesome.
Yeah, we want to expand that definitely, and we want to start concentrating on getting tour groups and buses in there, and the offering to make the offer just much more bigger than what we're doing it now. We're doing it slowly. We're doing it step by step. Obviously, cash flow is a big concern for any business, and this time it's going to be very crucial. So you need to just have to plan carefully and how you're going to spend your money and how.
It's interesting, you know, now that you say all of this, in terms of marketing, and you're a marketing guy, so you know this, I read some interesting statistics the other day about, you know, brands that kept on marketing during difficult times, during recessions, that this study was done from the Great Depression through the World Wars and everything. And one thing I noticed is that people that kept on advertising and kept on pushing their brand actually outperformed the peers that cut their cost, the marketing budgets, actually by a wide margin over time, because that brands tend to stay in people's head. And I think the guys that are doing a lot of, you know, people are doing these online tastings and stuff like that to keep their brands in people's minds. I think that is quite a clever thing to do. I'm not sure what your feeling is on that. And then also, in addition to that question, how important is social media become in your marketing?
Yeah, I think if you can keep on, it's definitely. I think it's a definitely advantage if you can keep up the marketing. And one thing is, I think it's debatable, but if you do a lot of marketing now and you do a lot of advertising and all thing, but you can't buy the wines. I'm not, you know, you see, it's obviously you have the brand awareness and people know about you and all things. Yes, it's fine. But at this stage, people want to buy your wine,
Yeah.
and they can't. So it's difficult. So I do think it's good if you can stay on top of it, and if you can keep your marketing budgets as previously, or maybe spend more if you can. There will definitely be advantage on the other side. But it's difficult to do that, and obviously each company will have to see what he can do and can't do. Social media, yes, social media is becoming more and more part of our life. I think the younger generations is much more obviously on the social media side, and the thing is that I think you need to change continuously. You need to have new stuff continuously. Otherwise, people are just gonna be bored and just go to the next brand or the next product.
It's a constant fight for attention on social
older,
media, unfortunately.
yes, yes, and it's relatively cheap, but there is some, because everyone can go on there. Obviously, the competition is very high. So yes, it's an easy way, but it's also a difficult way, because you need to stand out. Not only brands in South Africa, but brands worldwide. So, because everyone's got a platform, everyone can do that. So it's yeah, you need to know what you're doing, and we are doing it, and we've got an agency that's doing our social media. So we try to upgrade and adapt that so as we go along. But I think, yeah, part of that's obviously going to the online wine sales, and we'll be live from tomorrow, I think, from our website to buy. And obviously, we can only deliver once the lockdown is finished.
But yes, your chance now, Lourens. What is the special that your listeners can get on your online site from tomorrow?
Well, if you join as a member, then you get automatically 5% discount.
Okay.
So that will be from tomorrow. I don't think, well, probably after 12 o'clock from tomorrow, Friday. If you go on our website, there's a buy button, and if you go there, we go to our wine shop. And if you register as a member, then you automatically get 5% discount. And there's this, if you buy continuously, then you get to become a gold member, and you get to automatically 10% discount. So there's certain stages that you can go through. So and then if you buy more than 1,500 rands worth of wines, then your delivery is for free. So there's all different kind of advantages that you can take during the lockdown.
Well, I'm telling you what, if I'm a wine buyer, I'm definitely going to spend more than 1,500 rand, because what happens if we go into lockdown again? Never, don't want to take that chance.
Exactly,
again, right?
yeah.
So in your wine journey, Lourens, what is the most important thing that you've learned?
Yeah, well, I've traveled quite a bit, and extensively in the world, from Asia to Europe and Africa and all over. So it's very interesting to see how the different cultures, how they operate, and obviously food-wise and social-wise, all those kind of things. That's obviously my main thing, is the wine, and how do people drink wines, and why did I drink wine? So that's also very interesting for me, and that's what keeps me going, is the wine, and the wine is a living thing. Wine is changing and adapting every day from different worlds. China is making a lot of wine. What I've tasted is not great, but I'm sure they'll get better. But yeah, I think the one thing is just the wine is something that brings people together. It's a social environment, hence the lockdown, that you have to stay away from each other. But definitely, if you travel and you see people all over the world, different kind of backgrounds, different religions, all over. The one thing I would say is just be honest in what you're doing. The rest will come soft. So if you just be honest about your wines, and talk, communication. That's a big thing. Talk to people and be honest to what you do, and be true to yourself. So I think that's basically what I'll take from this.
Okay, awesome. So, okay, my last question for you is: can you give us your very own or your favorite wine quote?
Yeah, I don't have a quote for my own. But yeah, I think one quote is, well, it's not a quote, but maybe it says, if you're new to the wine, or you don't know wine, or you've known wine for a long time, I think one big thing is, don't let other people influence you. Drink the wines that you like. It doesn't matter which wines it is. It can be different kind of cultivars. It can be sweet. It can be dry, and whatever. I think it's just because wine is such a variety, such a different types of styles and wines in the world. Even just from regions, from us to other regions, you'll find a difference in Sauvignon Blanc. But try and find the wines that you like and drink that. Don't let other people influence you.
Awesome. Lourens, how do people find you if they're looking for you? How do they get hold of Darling Cellars?
Well, we're on Facebook, and then it's at Darling Cellars, and then the best is probably just go to our website. It's www.darlingcellars.co.za. So it's as easy as that. And from there, you have all the different kind of contact persons, winemaker, including myself, or some of the marketing or sales people. And yes, there's also online buy button on our website, and then obviously on the Facebook there's a wine shop now. I think that's the link. We situated on between Darling and Malmesbury, so if you're on that way when the lockdown is over and you can drive around a bit, come and visit us, come for a tasting, and we'll give you a nice tasting.
Lourens, that's awesome. We'll leave all the links in the description of the of the show and everything, and I'll make sure to mention that people can buy from tomorrow, 12 o'clock.
Yes.
But thank you very much for taking the time, and appreciate that you spoke to us. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your day, and good luck with the rest of the lockdown.
Thank you very much. Yeah, and you too. Be safe.
Thank you for supporting our show. If you would like to get more exposure for your business, please have a look at our sponsorship options. Thanks again for supporting About the Winelands. Please follow us on YouTube and on our social media channels. All details and links are in the description.
Welcome to About the Winelands. In this show, we will be chatting to leaders, influencers, wine producers, restaurants, and other role players. Tune in every Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday for your latest episodes. You will find us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram TV, Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Google Podcast.
Good day, everyone, and welcome to About the Winelands. Today I'm talking to Lourens Relihan. Lourens is the marketing manager at Darling Cellars. Hello, Lourens, how are you?
Hi, well, I'm good, and you?
I'm good, I'm good. How are you coping with the current situation we're in? Everything well?
Yes, yeah, well, in the lockdown, I think it's difficult for anyone and everyone. I'm working from home, so I've been here since the lockdown. We did open, so we can export since Monday, so we've got quite a few exports going out. And